Hey there, and welcome to the Amazon Advertising Software Overview 2021. It's going to be a big one. I hope you are as excited as I am. If you were here for last year's video, you know I was already so excited back then during the video for this year's video, simply because I will be able to show you even more this time around. I'll be able to show you how have things changed from 2020 and how are things developing in this whole market. So it's going to be huge. I have again spent hours and hours researching tools, talking to tool providers. At this point, again, thanks a lot to all of you guys who were so kind, giving me all that information, helping me out, letting me learn from you guys as well. So it's been quite a ride again this year, even more than last year. And I have more tools, more features, more everything for you this time around. So it's going to be a big one. So I'm pretty sure you are in the right place now to find a advertising software that meets your needs and your budget. And I'm going to share one software with you that you should be considering regardless of which features you're actually looking for. So there you go. I've really tried to prepare all the information you could possibly wish for in that decision-making process you are currently in trying to find that Amazon advertising software that fits your needs, your company's needs. So let's just get right into it. But before we're gonna have a look at these results, for which some of you have been asking me for almost a half a year now, I'm just going to give you 3 important points to consider before you actually consider these results. So then, let's first have a look at the scoring system. How do the softwares end up in the position that they end up in? So let me just explain it to you in detail. And for those of you, of course, that watched last year's video, you can probably skip ahead to the minute that I'm showing in the video right now. But let's have a closer look at this area. And basically, I am going to give 3 points for any super for any of those green automation features. Then I'm going to give 2 points for a yes for any of those automation features, as well as 1 point for a partly for any of those automation features. And just to explain what makes a super and a yes and a partly, well, basically it's a relative thing. Anything that simply offers more functionality, more advanced settings perhaps than what other softwares provide will get a super, and anything that is only available in a sort of limited way, perhaps it's only working for keyword targeting and not for product targeting, or only for manual campaigns and not for auto campaigns, things like that will make it a partly. And then we also have all of these blue manual optimization features as well as analytics features, which will get 2 points for a super, 1 point for a yes, and half a point for a partly. And finally, as you can see here, I am also giving half a point for the number of marketplaces that they offer. So if it's just the US, for example, it would only be half a point there. So there you go. I would say fairly straightforward. Obviously, as I said last year already, it's not perfect. It simply cannot be perfect. There are some features where I personally would give a lot more points because they are simply much more important than others. But I'm just trying to keep it somewhat straightforward, easy to understand, not too complicated, and I suppose transparent. So there you go, that is what makes the scoring system. But as I've said in previous times, I'm very happy to hear about suggestions how to make the scoring system even better, how to make it reflect even better what is actually the best software out there. So yeah, if you have any of those good ideas out there, just shoot me a message on LinkedIn and I'll be happy to consider that in future videos. Then we have point number 2, which is how up to date is this review? Well, obviously it cannot be quite up to date because it is a video and I cannot update this video itself. So basically one day right after the video upload, it might already not be up to date because there's just so many tools and so many features, and all of these tools, well, most of them are working on these features. So in that sense, I really cannot guarantee any kind of up-to-dateness. Things might change very quickly, but I am trying to keep it up to date with future videos, and that is of course a big reason to stick to this channel and see how things develop, because you don't want to miss out on any of those softwares that might make huge advancements in certain features, which might be a killer feature that no other software has, which might be a true game changer, as they like to say. So, stick around and don't miss out on future videos, future updates. And for this video, I will of course be able to show you how things have changed compared to last year, like I said. So yeah, that column alone will showcase that the video is not up to date, because I'm actually showing you that these tools are working on these features. So yeah, just keep that in mind when looking at the results, and you might always want to ask these tools if things have changed for a certain feature. Perhaps they have all the features that you want, all the aspects that you like about a software or a company, but that one feature that they haven't known currently, maybe that has already changed if you're looking at this in, let's say, 3 or 6 months. And finally, you of course always want to check the comment section, simply because I am always going to post the most up-to-date video into the comment of this video. So there you go, I'm really trying to keep this as up-to-date as possible. Okay, then that took me a little bit longer than I hoped for. I'm just going to try to get to point number 3 as quickly as possible, and then we can finally have a look at those first results. So point number 3 is, am I really neutral? Well, I would say personally, yes, I am. And even though I did work for Sellics for 4 years, and even though I am an affiliate to any of those softwares that has an affiliate program, as you can also find in the comment section, if there is an affiliate program, you will potentially find a link down below and perhaps a discount code if that's what they're offering. And some of these tools might not be offering them right now, but maybe in 2 months, and I might update the comment section again with those discount codes. So yeah, if you want to do me and this channel a favor, of course, then use the links down below if any of those softwares interests you and also has an affiliate link. Alright, so yeah, that was the last point. I'm really trying to be neutral in all of this, and in any case, I don't see many ways of influencing it in too many ways, simply because I'm trying to be as factual as possible. Do they have the feature or not? Is it better than others or not? I've also been doing the research for myself, so I'm trying to be as accurate for myself as well, right? So in that sense, I think you can truly trust me on that front. And with that, if you haven't already skipped ahead, we can now finally get into the results, which you might have seen I've already started showing you slowly, including the slogans behind the softwares, so you already have a little bit of an idea what the software is actually about, or maybe some of you already guessed what the software is by that slogan. So yeah, let's get right into it. First off, with the pricing. Alright then, so as we look at these first tools coming up in the overview, as well as their pricing, I think it's fair to say that the pricing actually reflects pretty well in this market how many features these tools have. And that's really the main point. I think it mainly reflects the number of features, not necessarily the quality. So you will already find very useful tools here if you are only using sponsored products, for instance. If you don't have a big creative team and you're just not using sponsored brands yet, and you haven't gotten into sponsored display yet, right? And sponsored product is usually 80% or so of all your ad spend anyway. So in that sense, already here you will probably find a lot of good tools. And I just want to point out, while we're here looking at those bottom tools, they are only bottom in my overview, right? It doesn't mean they are bad per se, as Seller Legend proved in my other Amazon profit overview video, just like Sellerboard proved it over there. Both of them actually finishing right at the top. So as you can see, it's just really a reflection of these features that I'm looking at here. They might not have the focus of Amazon PPC, but they might have other focuses. So in that sense, check them out anyway. Many of these tools have awesome features outside of Amazon PPC, so definitely you want to check on those either way. Okay then, and just to kind of explain a little bit what the max pricing means. Basically, it means that is the maximum price you could end up paying, and if it's a percentage, it means there is basically no limit. And many of these tools actually also allow for negotiations to kind of set a limit at some point, but I cannot promise you that, of course. But that just to keep in mind. On the pricing side, in general, I would first look at the features you need and then check the pricing, because at the end of the day, paying, let's say, $10, $20, $30 less than another tool really doesn't make a difference compared to actually saving you a ton of workload per week, per month, per year. So yeah, look at the features first and then check the pricing column. And by the way, most of these tools that have a percentage pricing are actually based on ad spend, as you would expect, but there are actually some exceptions, as you'll see later on, whose pricing is actually based on the ad sales or even the total sales. So depending on your preferences, that might also be a factor. Alright, then next up is the number of marketplaces. Of course, if you're just a US seller, don't care about the other marketplaces, then you might be good enough with going for one of these tools that has a 1 in that section, which is usually the US, or a free, which is usually North America, right? And if you're a European seller, then usually you want to look out for those that have at least 5 here, which is then usually Europe. And if you're in India, Japan, Australia, and some of the other maybe not so used marketplaces out there, then you'll want to look out for a tool that has a number higher than 8, and you have a good chance of actually getting that marketplace included there as well. Alright then, so as we move to the next part in the overview, I think you deserve the tools that crack the very respectable 40 points marker, and here they are. So these are already tools that really offer quite a bit more than you will get in Seller Central in the ad console itself. So really there's no reason to not check them out if they are in your budget and they already fit your needs for the main features, and they will certainly help you with your ads as well. But now before I actually talk about the features that make up this overview, that make up the points for this ranking, I want to give you that one tool that I mentioned at the start of the video that you will need regardless of your decision of which advertising software you will go for. So for those of you that also saw my Amazon Profit Tools overview, you will know that I also included a historical data column to show how many months of historical data the Profit Tools pull from the Seller API. And so for those tools, that was actually quite a differentiator. For Amazon PPC, however, where the data is simply far more complex and it is simply far more data because it's so many more levels as well, product level, campaign level, ad group level, keyword level, product targeting level, product level. And so there's just so much more data, and probably too much data for Amazon to make that available, at least to make it more available than 2 months, which is the current limitation, which has always been the limitation, as you may know. And so when you switch to a new software, you will always only start with 2 months of historical data. And also in the advertising console, when you download your search term reports, it will only be for 2 months. And so if you don't want to lose that valuable data, if you don't want to start off with only 2 months of data in the new software, there is now a solution which is called AdAstronaut, the first data storage service of its kind for Amazon PPC. It's now live. I'm excited to put it out there. I've been involved in getting this ready for a very long time now, and it truly fits my mission because I want to make this market as transparent as possible, and I also want you to make use of that transparency, because what's it good for if you cannot then switch your software because you risk losing all of your historical data? And so that is where AdAstronaut comes into play. You are the owner of your data. You can always go back to your search term data and potentially see some trends, potentially see some new product ideas within your search terms that will complement your portfolio. So you definitely want to check out AdAstronaut. This is how it's written, one word, and simply create your account. It's actually for free if your ad spend is below a certain threshold, $2,500 at the moment. If it's below that, you are free forever basically. So definitely want to check that out. And we are already in talks with a lot of those software providers that have shown interest in becoming an AdAstronaut partner, so that you can not only download your data in the AdAstronaut dashboard at any time, but that you can also transport it and make it portable to any of those softwares, especially the ones with machine learning, which will be the first feature that we'll look at in a moment. Especially for those tools, it makes a ton of sense to pull more historical data, to see more trends, and to learn from more data in general, right? So that is also where I see the trend going. Machine learning bid automation will be the most important feature in years to come. It already is, but it will be even more so down the road. And AdAstronaut will basically make all of those tools with machine learning automation even more powerful. So there you go. That is the one tool you should really check out. It basically serves as support to all of those other tools, and we will keep you up to date with who is a partner and where you can actually bring your data in the future. I should mention right now, at the time of this release, it is only available for the North American marketplaces, but if you're watching this in 2 or 3 months, then you should be good to go with the European marketplaces and probably some of the other ones as well. All right, and so that is now it for the historical data column. That now is not only important for the profit tools, but also for the PPC tools. And you know what? I think you now deserve the tools that crack the 50 points marker, as we now are going to have a look at the features that make up this overview. In other words, at the automation features first. So let's just have a look at those tools right now. They are Helium 10, making quite a jump from last year, Zon.Tools, Teikametrics, Sellics, Mngt, and Advogator. So there you go, already very strong tools here. Some of them with great machine learning automation as well, Mngt, Sellics, Teikametrics, and of course Helium 10, known as one of the best all-in-one tools, along with Sellics. So there you go, already a great set of tools to have a look at if they already fit your needs for the most important features. Alright, so let me now just walk you through some of those automation features, starting with the bid automation via machine learning. This is the first thing I looked at. It is the most important thing to me, to be honest. It is, at the end of the day, I think the one thing that automation really does a lot better than any human can possibly do, and it gets more and more complicated, and machine learning will simply take over that part. All of the other things, I can understand people being more skeptical of automation tools, you know, negative targets, target harvesting, things like that. I can understand people being skeptical, but when it comes to bid management, if you're still doing that with, you know, manual optimization, bug files or whatever, I'm just not sure that's really realistically the best you can do. You cannot consider all the trends for each keyword. You cannot look at all the patterns that machine learning can look at, and you can especially not predict what will happen for each keyword by looking at all of these patterns. That's the big difference, of course, also to custom rules. So custom rules is a great way to actually keep control with, you know, your own set of filters, your own set of conditions, and, you know, for example, decrease bids if the CPC becomes too high or whatever, and you don't want to go over that no matter what. So these are things that just help you keep control of that. But at the end of the day, machine learning bid automation is the thing and will continually improve over the years, also with the help of AdAstronaut. While custom rules, well, there's not that much room to improve, to be honest, over the years. Although I have seen one of the new tools, Pacvue, with some great dynamic conditions there, but still that won't be able to improve as much over the years as machine learning will, right? Custom rules, just by nature, they won't be able to improve drastically because there's only so many conditions you can set in those rules and so many actions you can expect. They're always going to be reactive, and it's just not the future. The future is machine learning bid automation. So there you go. A big reason why you want to also get yourself AdAstronaut and help those machine learning tools with more historical data. They work, of course, a lot better. The more data they have, the more trends they can analyze. So that is my personal recommendation. Although I'm not saying custom rules is a bad thing, I want that additionally, right? I'd love to have that additionally to just keep certain things in control. Alright, so that's the first two most important features basically, bid management via machine learning and custom rules. And we also have bid management of your placement bid multipliers, another huge thing. Without this, basically, it's very hard to actually get a super in machine learning, by the way, because to get the balance right between base bid and placement multiplier, that is the secret sauce really in bid management, and it's very difficult again in manual optimization, almost impossible to analyze that in one flow. So there you go. If that's a yes, then you have a good chance of getting a super here as well. So yeah, definitely for me personally also kind of a must-have thing in one of those softwares. Then not so important but nice to have is if the automation tool also tests different dynamic bidding settings, so up and down, down only or fixed, right? Although we may think down only works the best all the time, that may not be true, and machine learning will perhaps find out for certain products, for certain niches, that up and down works better. We don't really know, and so ideally the software also does that testing for you. And finally, in bid automation, we also have Dayparting. You may have seen me talk about that in a recent news video of mine, where I also mentioned that a ton of tools now don't have a super here anymore, simply because there are now two tools that already use Amazon's brand new hourly data API, and those are the ones I'm going to tell you later on. Actually, one of them I can tell you right now. It is actually Commerce IQ, but they only work for vendors at the moment, so that is why they are not really in this competition. But there is also another tool for you seller folks out there, for which I'm actually doing this video mainly. So you can look forward to that later on when it comes to the top ranking softwares. Alright, then another must-have automation feature in my view is of course the target harvesting, in other words keywords and ASIN harvesting. So you want to be continually finding new profitable search terms in those automatic campaigns, in other research campaigns that you may have, broad category campaigns, and continually to harvest those into your exact campaigns, phrase campaigns, product targeting campaigns to get even more out of those targets. So another kind of really essential tool you want to have. And with that, another kind of essential tool, maybe not as important because it's also fine if we do that manually. It might even be better to always keep a close look at which search terms exactly you put to negative, especially if it's phrase. But nonetheless, a great feature to have, and at least set certain conditions such as if there's no orders after 50 clicks to be on the safe side, then that really should be a bad search term for most products. Maybe not for luxury products that need a lot of clicks, but for most products that would be a case where I would use such a rule to put those to negative. And then another automation you're looking for is generally budget automation. Of course, if you're following this channel, you know that now also exists partly for Seller Central itself, right? They just introduced it for sponsored products, although it's very difficult to use. You have to click into each single campaign. So here you would ideally also use a software that allows you to, for example, increase budgets when they're running out of budget. So that's certainly another very useful feature to have. And then the last feature I want to talk about before I show you the tools that cracked the 60 points marker is the auto creation of campaigns for new products. That might sound a bit scary for some of you, but for others it sounds like a dream. If you have hundreds of products, perhaps you have several new t-shirts a day that you're selling, and you don't want to create that same structure every day for all of those products, but instead you might have even a rule that says, okay, create exactly that campaign structure for every new product. And ideally that automation tool would even harvest the keywords itself, etc. So you almost don't need to do anything there. Of course, that is a bit of a dangerous thing. You need to know what you're doing, but generally also a very nice feature to have at your disposal. Alright, so as promised, we are now going to have a look at the tools that cracked the 60 points marker and thereby actually just missed out on the bronze medal rankings. And those are AiHello, AdSpurt, Trellis, Scale Insights, and AdBadger. Another great set of tools, especially here in the machine learning section. You can again see very super tools, AdSpurt being specifically super in not only focusing on ACoS optimization but actually going towards total profit, while Trellis and AiHello are excellent at automating bids for sellers that have a lot of products competing in the same niche. So great tools here as well already, and certainly something that can be a great asset to your company at a very affordable price, it seems. So there you go, the tools that cracked the 60 points marker. And with that, let's just go back to our features. I wanted to show you the last automation features in this overview, which is the bid automation considering external data. This will be the thing in the future that really, I think, will differentiate these tools even more. And I could probably add far more columns here, but for now, we have the keyword rankings and traffic potential, meaning they are considering search volume, estimated search volume, of course, or even better, the search frequency rank given by Amazon's brand analytics, or a share of voice. So that is one of my favorite features to look out for. Then we have the mentioned bid automation that considers your total profit, or at least the break-even ACoS, or the cost per order, or the price. So they're another great set of data points to have your bid automation look at. Then ideally, of course, I want my automation to consider my inventory levels and reduce bids in advance before they are going out of stock. Then we have the bid automation that goes towards total sales, or the so-called ACoS, advertising cost of total sales, also known as TACoS, which is unfortunately a very widely spread wrong abbreviation, but there you go. You can also call it blended ACoS, so that's another thing people might want to automate their bids by. And also, ideally, I can automate towards a certain bestseller rank, so I might just want to focus on sales and get that bestseller badge, and that is another great thing to have in your automation tool. And finally, we also have various competitor data points that you might want your automation to consider, especially when it comes to your product targeting ads, where you might want to reduce bids when you see that a certain product ASIN suddenly reduced their price and you might not be as attractive as compared to them anymore, and your conversion rates will drop. And if the tool recognizes that in advance, obviously that can only be good. And then you might also want to have the tool look at the number of reviews of that product. Does it have a badge currently? Is there perhaps a very new review that is very bad and that would make your ad perform better there potentially? Or is that competitor ASIN sold by a FBM seller or FBA seller? Of course, that makes a huge difference for your product targeting ads. Or is it even a vendor? In other words, is it Amazon selling the product? So of course, those are things that you ideally want your automation to consider in its bid management. All right, now to the next section is one of my favorite sections as well. I would actually give this the same amount of points as all the automation features because this is a huge struggle. It takes so much time to create those campaigns. It's really probably the thing that consumes the most time as a PPC manager, I would say. But like I said, I wanted to keep the scoring system simple, and it's not an automation, but it is very useful nonetheless to be able to bulk create those campaigns, either multiple campaigns for multiple products. So for example, I would just like to go and create 100 automatic campaigns for all my products that don't have any campaigns yet, or I'd like to be able to create a ready structure for a certain product. Ideally even save my own default structures that I can then use for different kind of products. So that is another great feature to have that will save you endless amounts of time. And also finally, of course, it would be great if you can create videos for your sponsored video ads. Now there's only 2 tools so far I know that have that, which are Trellis and Perpetua, which is of course still coming. So there you go, another great set of features to look out for in a Amazon advertising software. Now then, I think you really deserve to see the first medalists of this year's overview, the bronze medalists, the tools that cracked the 70 points marker, and we're also entering the top 10 tools now. So let's start off with ePower, that was recently acquired by eMarketing, Sellozo, Marin, Downstream, of course also recently acquired by Jungle Scout, and last but not least, Feedvisor, all obviously very good tools that will definitely help you out with managing your ads. And as you can already see by the pricing, we are of course going into the steeper regions now, simply because they offer more features and more ad types. So yeah, congratulations to all of those so far, already great tools. But let's move back to the set of features that I just wanted to show you. And the next one is the manual bulk optimization across multiple campaigns. So the multiple campaigns here is the important thing, because otherwise you could just do it in the advertising console. Although, and that will probably be part of my next news video once it appears in one of Razor's accounts, it has already been seen in a few accounts that you can now also in the ad console manage bids without having to click into the different campaigns. So that might be something where in next year's video I won't have free columns for it, just like with the budgets, which is of course also easily possible in the advertising console interface. But for now, all of these features are certainly things that I would like to have in my advertising software, not least because they usually have better filters than the advertising console. They have more data, external data, so even when this becomes available in the ads console, it will still be better in those ad softwares. Alright, so yeah, I think pretty straightforward, all of these features. Then the next thing I want to have is event planning. So here I want to, in advance, be able to adjust my budgets and bids for, let's say, an upcoming Prime Day, and ideally do it in a way that I increase them for the well-performing campaigns only. And of course, that too is actually something that has become partly available in the ads console with the new budget rules, but bids are still missing. So there again, still you want to make use of one of those advertising softwares. Then the next section that we have is easy analytics, where I just want to quickly get some suggestions, for example, or I'm looking for saved smart filters, right? All of the softwares have filters, just like the advertising consoles, but I want to save my own filters. I don't always want to enter the same numbers. I don't always want to enter, the same conditions, but I want to save those, or at least the software provides me with some smart filters. Then the next thing is trends, but I want to be able to sort those trends, right? Every software, again, has trends. You can see, ACOS development and things like that over time, but not every software lets me sort by those trends. So I want to see the delta compared to the last period and sort those campaigns, for example, or the keywords by that delta. And finally, of course, changelog, basic things for the automation. You want to see what's happening, as well as product level PPC data. So very often, for example, I want to see the click-through rate for my products. In other words, the click-through rate for all of my campaigns that include that product. And that is, of course, again, not something easily available in the ad console. All right then, are you ready to get down to business? I hope so. It is getting serious now. We are getting to the very top tools in this overview, to the silver medalists that have assembled more than 80 incredible points, and those are Perpetua and Intentwise. So congratulations to those two tools. Yet again, Perpetua with the silver medal. Yet again, an incredible amount of very useful features, especially automation features for both of these tools. So yeah, well done to those. But before I give you the gold medalists, the tools that actually cracked the 90 points marker, I'm just going to talk about the final set of features that make up this overview. And those are the PPC analytics combined with external data and other advanced features. So basically, again, I want to analyze my PPC data in combination with stock data, buy box data, revenue, price, badge data of my products, total sales, ACOTs again, bestseller rank again, keyword rankings, traffic potential again, like in the automation part, which includes search volume, search frequency rank, or share of voice. Then we have all of these profit data points that I want to look at, as well as competitor and benchmark analytics, placement analytics, and finally getting more and more important and accessible to the smaller sellers through these third-party softwares, DSP analytics and optimizations. So there you go, another cool set of features that you ideally would want to have in your advertising software. And then the very final section of features that actually counts towards the ranking and gives points, unlike the extra section here, which I may have forgotten in the scoring system explanation. So here we have the account management, where I want to tag my campaigns and perhaps even products and keywords with certain labels so that I can analyze that group of products or campaigns later on, or even set automations based on those labels later on. That is actually another feature where I'm inclined to give more points than just the 1 point for a yes here, but there you go. Then we have the ability to switch between multiple Seller Central accounts in one account of that software. Obviously great for aggregators such as Razor. Then we have also in the same line the multi-accounts overview, another great thing of course also for agencies, as well as the ability to add multiple users with different kinds of rights. Then we also have the personal account manager. That's actually the only column here that's not really a software feature, but nonetheless I think it is a big reason why some of these tools have such higher prices than others, simply because you will get a lot more of that hand holding, a lot more onboarding sessions, etc. So depending on your preferences and how much you want to learn yourself, perhaps that can be a very big factor of course as well. And finally we have the adjustable columns and widgets, alerts, as well as reports being emailed to you. Alright then, I think you've been patient enough. We're gonna skip the extras, and I think they are actually pretty self-explanatory, but especially for those of you that have not skipped ahead, you really deserve these top tools now. And those of you that did skip ahead, I'm sure many of you have actually been waiting for this update, so you too deserve to see the winning softwares in 2021, the best Amazon advertising tools out there at the moment, at least in my opinion, at least according to the features I'm looking for. And let's just have a look at them right now. Get excited. Here are the gold medal winners of 2021. Bidx, Skai, formerly known as Kenshu, Quartile, and Pacvue. As you can see, the points difference is extremely small, and they are all incredible tools. Really, you cannot go wrong with any of them pretty much. There is hardly anything left to be wished for if you go for one of these tools. They have incredible automation features, incredible analytics and optimization features. So really, it will be small differences, small interface preferences that you may have that will end up making your decision between those. And just to point it out again, even if there is a bit of a difference here to Bidx, basically in my head there is no difference. With that many points, then to just have a few points less basically is no difference at all, right? That's just 1 or 2 features less. It could be some unimportant features or well, less important features, and I could have added various other columns where maybe Bidx had the feature and the others didn't. So in that sense, again, I just want to point out the scoring system is not perfect, and that kind of difference basically is no difference. They're all top of the notch tools, and you currently won't find anything better. I say currently because of course these things change very quickly, as we've seen now in the past year. Things have changed. Pacvue last year really was by far the #1 tool. This year, not anymore, I'm sorry. But for the rest of us, I'm sure it is far more exciting this way, and I'm also sure Pacvue is happy to share with such great competitors. So there you go, this is the result of this year's overview, and in case you're wondering why Pacvue is at the top in this particular list, well, that's just an alphabetical thing, and it again shows the importance of the right branding decision. Maybe the other tools should have gone with a name that starts with A, such as AdAstronaut, great name. And by the way, if you missed the explanation on AdAstronaut, you can go to the time that I'm showing now where I talk about the historical data column. So there you go again. Congratulations to this year's winning tools, Bidx, Skai, Quartile, Pacvue, absolutely fantastic tools. But also congratulations to the other medal winners, because frankly they are all great tools, and like I said, the scoring system is not perfect, and either way you will find usefulness in pretty much all of these tools. Again, like I said, not all of them have the focus completely on PPC. Many of them have a very spread focus. Many of them don't focus on PPC at all, such as Sellerboard, Seller Legend, of course, at the very front in the Profit Tools overview, or Analyze, which might well be the best at Amazon SEO. That's something I'm, by the way, going to find out in next year's upcoming Amazon SEO Tools overview, where they will certainly be one of the favorites. But that's another topic. So again, congratulations to all the tools here, and thanks again to all you tool providers for really being super helpful with filling out this sheet. Alright, but we're not done yet. Actually, the best part is yet to come, at least in my personal view, because that part is far more interesting. It's where we look behind the scenes. What are these companies made of? Who are they made of? How popular are they? And some more information. So that's what I will show you at the time point that I'm showing now. And until then, I'm just going to give you some nice music and slide you through the columns very slowly and row by row, so you can stop the video whenever you like and easily see which tools have which features. So again, if you don't want to see that, skip ahead to the time mentioned now, and I'll talk to you soon. Alright then, welcome back. I hope you found it useful so far. If you did, I would of course very much appreciate a like. It really helps me in the YouTube algorithm. It helps me with this whole project. It helps to motivate me as well, frankly. And of course, your comments also motivate me, and your questions and your feedback to improve this overview, this scoring system, etc. also motivate me. So yeah, let me have it, and I would very much appreciate that. And of course, what also helps me and yourself, I hope, is if you subscribe and keep up to date with all of these software and Amazon PPC updates. But now let's have a look at the tasty stuff I was promising before. Let's have a look at the behind the scenes figures of these companies. And first off, we have the social following. Actually, I also have the community members here in the extras just for you to look at quickly. But what is more telling, I believe, because these groups on Facebook, etc., they are not, directly often linked to the software. People often don't even know it belongs to the software, but it is certainly a plus for them to have it. So there you go in the extras. But let's have a look at the socials. So I'm just gonna scroll you down through them real quickly. And then also the total numbers for you. There you go. Very interesting to see. And of course, we can now actually see who has increased their numbers from last year. And let me just sort this whole thing by that total number for you real quickly. There we go. So as you can see, as of now, Jungle Scout still leading the way very much. So even ahead of Amazon advertising on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Although Amazon itself is really pushing hard now on all these fronts with their advertising social profiles. So that probably won't stay the same next year. But congrats to Jungle Scout, apparently doing a great job with their marketing. And the likes of Skai, Helium 10, Marin 1 also doing pretty well. Although Helium 10, as you would expect, has grown quite a bit, as has actually SellerApp, who are, I think, going crazy on YouTube, bringing out such good content all the time. And it really shows in their numbers here. So good for them as well. And yeah, the only tool that actually decreased in their numbers is Tool for Seller. But that may just be because I'm actually not following the Chinese social media platforms where they may be pretty big, who knows. But here it's not going too well apparently. So yeah, just here for you again to look at in slow motion. Alright, and then we also have the Trustpilot scores again. Like last year, although like last year they are still not really meaningful, as you can see by the number of reviews here, mostly still very small numbers, so all of these ratings in my eyes are not really meaningful, but here you go to look at as well. And the difference to last year is the rating, not the number of reviews, for your information. But in general, it's actually looking pretty good for all of them. And then finally, we have the employee numbers to look at. That is probably the most interesting part to me. Sometimes you really wouldn't think how big these companies are, and sometimes you're really surprised that behind that big name is actually just a small group of people. And really, I cannot really see a pattern of, which companies are doing better in this overview. It seems to be very mixed. So smaller, medium, and very big companies all over the place, as you can see here. And let me just actually sort that view for you as well, so you'll be able to see the company with the most employees, which is actually Channel Advisor. That's a company I haven't checked on this year, but I just put them in there because they are potentially a new competitor. I'm not quite sure what they offer yet. I haven't gotten through to them yet, but maybe next year we'll have some more information on them as well. And after that, it is really Skai leading the way as the enterprise company among these Amazon PPC tools. And really, I cannot say what's better for you. Sometimes the smaller companies will be much quicker, much more flexible, open to your feature requests. And some of you might prefer that kind of enterprise company if you can afford it, which will offer other perks and usually a bit more account management and things like that. So there you go as well to have a look at. Of course, not a great year apparently in terms of LinkedIn employee numbers for Marin 1 and Caspian. I'm not sure how much we can read into it. Caspian also had a branding change there. And of course there was that little pandemic going on in the past 12 months. So, who knows what these companies went through and how they had to restructure and maybe look for employees in places where LinkedIn is not such a big thing. So yeah, I'm not sure how much we can read into it just yet. If next year that trend is still going downwards, well then yeah, we can read a bit more into it. But for now, again, just for you to look at the employee numbers of all of these softwares as it is shown on LinkedIn. I should always emphasize it is probably quite a bit more for most of them, especially the ones that have a 0 here. Obviously, they must have at least one person behind that company, and they are apparently not a fan of LinkedIn. Alright, and the last piece of information I want to give you that I like to look at is the number of softwares that are located in these countries, in these states, as well as in these cities. So that's of course always interesting to look at, especially when you have in mind that there's always so many acquisitions going on in this space, and there certainly will be more to come in the coming months. So here you go, some inspiration for all of you tool providers and perhaps investors looking out for interesting companies to buy. Of course, the US leading the way as usual, but I think the rest of the world is really keeping up the fight and making this interesting as well. So investors around the world might just find a very interesting company here to acquire, or these companies themselves might find a very interesting partner to merge with, to partner up with in some way. So there you go, that's the last information I will leave you with today. This is really it now. I think I might just have crossed the 1 hour mark for this video, so thanks a lot for sticking along the ride. I know it's been a long one, but I hope it was worth it for you. I hope you got some very good information out of it, and I hope especially, of course, that you know which software you should go after. And again, the reminder, whichever software you go after, you definitely want to check out Astronaut, which will help you store your data regardless of which software you go to later on, and which will also help you basically to make that software, if it has machine learning bid automation, work better for you simply by giving it more data to look at, more data to learn from, and that is of course in everybody's interest here. So there you go. This is it for the Amazon PPC Tools Overview 2021. Again, congrats to the winners of those medals, especially Bidx, Skai, Quartile, and Pacvue again. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to leave you all the important links in the description and the comment section, as well as a link to my basic Amazon PPC course for beginners. Maybe you have some new employees that you want to onboard. I think that's a very nice little course to use at a very affordable price. So there you go, a lot of information to check out in the description and comment section. And of course, I really hope to read you in that comment section, and I'm really interested in what you think of all of this and what you would do to change any of this. So let me know about it. And of course, I'd love to connect with you on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, but mostly LinkedIn, to be honest. That's where I'm usually scrolling around. So that is it now. I should really stop talking now. I really need that extra weekend after this weekend. It has actually taken me around 3 days to record this. So I'll leave you now and hopefully see you around in one of my next videos, or at least in one of the next big overviews coming up in the next few months and years. All right, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you around. Have a great one. Bye-bye.